Guys, on today's episode, we're going to be going over the do's and don'ts when removing snow from your car. Spoiler alert, it's pretty easy if you follow a few simple rules. That and a lot more coming up on this episode of Drive and Protect. All the way in so that they touch up enough. Can hear it. Let's start with the don'ts. Now, hypothetically, imagine your car is perfectly clean with no snow on it, but just a bit of dust. Now, would you use a straw broom, a squeegee, a hard foam paddle to wipe off the dust? I would hope not. Same thing goes for snow. If you're new to my videos, the golden rule for touching paint is to have some sort of lubricant in between the paint and whatever's touching it, whether it be water or soap or hydrate or spray wax. Stick to this rule of thumb of no dry wiping and your paint is less likely to get scratched. With all that being said, don't use a brush, broom, shovel, your arm, or a hockey stick to remove the snow. Same thing goes for leaning on the car. Just don't do it. Don't lean on the car to reach the other side if you're working, for example, on the SUV. Stand on the tire or find a step stool if you need to reach the middle of the roof. Lots of scratches occur from jacket zippers or buckles grinding into the paint as you feverishly swipe the snow. Bottom line, just don't be lazy. Allocate the time to do this properly, otherwise you'll pay the price with scratched or gouged paint. To remove snow safely, first start the car and turn on the defrosters front and back. Next, you have two options based on the type of snow you have. Is it powdery or is it heavy with slush and ice, similar to what I have on the Impala? Notice how low the car is sitting because of the sheer weight of the snow and ice. It needs to be removed as soon as possible. Now, if it's powdery, simply blow the snow away with air. In this case, a regular leaf blower is perfect. No touching, so you're not violating the rule, and you're good to go. But if the snow is heavy because of a top layer of ice, you may be able to break off the surface chunks and lift them away from the paint as the first step. Obviously, pushing ice chunks across your paint is not a good look, so lift and remove them if you can. Now, with the top layer gone, gently move the powdery snow with a modified snow broom, but do not punch down so far that it touches the paint. If you're not familiar, a snow broom is a rubbery cushion paddle attached to a pole. Now, that's not super complicated, but it's obviously way better than just a regular broom, of course, but still not something I would allow to have direct paint contact if it was just dusty, as we mentioned earlier. So, to add some protection to the broom, we attach two microfiber towels, which are safe on the paint in case of an accidental touch. First, unscrew the pole from the paddle. Next, lay two microfiber towels together on your workbench. Now find the part of the towel that overlaps with the threads. Use a razor blade to cut out one hole in each towel on each side, but do not cut through the stitched edging. Afterwards, stick the pole and the threads through all four slits in the towel and screw it back into the paddle. I also like to wrap the edges of the towel with rubber bands to hold the microfiber in place on the paddle. Obviously, the rubber bands will not allow the paddle to slide smoothly across the paint, but it doesn't really matter because it shouldn't be touching the paint anyways. Again, wrapping the cushion is just a precaution in case you accidentally go too deep or are too aggressive. With your microfiber broom at the ready, gently remove the next layers of snow without pushing down on the paint. Now, the goal is very simple. Remove as much snow as possible without touching or squeegeeing the paint, sort of like the game of snow car operation. Touch the paint, the buzzer goes off, and you lose. Whatever little bits of snow remaining after using the paddle can be removed with a leaf blower. If your snowfall is not as severe as this one or it's very powdery, you can simply start with the blower first and keep the snow broom in your trunk. This technique or thought process may sound extreme or extra work, and you know what? You're right. It is. But it's faster, cheaper, and easier than spending the entire day compounding and polishing your paint in the spring. So to me, the math is pretty simple. You either pay now by spending a little bit more time to remove the snow safely, or pay later by removing the scratches. But really, it's up to you to decide which is less annoying. But take it from someone who polishes paint all day. Trust me, spend the extra 10 minutes now to avoid abrading your very thin paint after every winter. On a quick side note, if your car has ice on the windows, wait for your defroster to warm up if possible and gently scrape the glass if necessary. Now, if used properly, the scraper is 100% safe. However, the trick here is to keep the scraper blade perfectly flat to avoid gouging the glass. That's what causes issues. Likewise, keeping your wipers up and off the glass before the storm can make your life a whole lot easier later when cleaning the car. And it helps avoid rubber from freezing to the glass or the wiper arm getting jammed with ice and snow. Lastly, be mindful of where you dump the snow from the car. Now, if you need to pull forwards, then don't dump the snow in front of the car. Likewise, if you need to back out, same thing. Think ahead now to avoid a ton of shoveling later. Or think way ahead and get a tent if these sort of snow-related tasks drive you as crazy as they do me. Now, after all that, the car is looking really clean, and the concept that I want you to take away from this video is anytime we touch the paint, we wipe the paint, we do anything to it, in all of my videos, what do? We add lubrication, right? You want to have something in between the layer of paint and whatever it is that you're using, a microfiber towel or a pad or whatever. We can't really do that, obviously, because there's snow on the car, but that mentality, that the way that we process or think about removing either dirt or snow or anything from the car is kind of to lift it off. That's the dream. Remember, I always say in some of my videos, you know, I wish I could invent a vacuum that would just pull off the dirt, but we don't have that. But that concept is very helpful here. So when I'm doing that, I have to try to wrap up the tools as much as possible. Even with the microfiber towel and the cushion, I still don't want to touch the paint. That's why I use the air when you can. So, and this was the worst case scenario as well, because it was so heavy and it's so hard for the blower. Normally when it's light snow, you can just take the blower and do the whole thing. So I use the combination of it. Use common sense and figure out a way to remove the snow doing the least amount of touching possible. Now, on a side note, and I think in 50 states, I know in New York and Connecticut, if you do not clean your car that has snow all over it and you go on the highway, you're gonna get pulled over. Why? Because we've all been there, we've seen the car in front of us, the snow comes off the roof and you kind of swerve out of the way and it could potentially hit the windshield and crack it if it's ice or whatever. It's dangerous. So all these little fun things that we're doing and it's snowing now is fun and it's great, and I love chatting with you guys, but at the end of the day, the safest thing is to get rid of the snow, and if you have to do it with your arm, if you have to do it with a broom, then so be it. But you don't want to go out on the road and cause issues for other people. So it is fun. Let's protect our car as much as possible. Put it in a tent if you're really that worried about it. Like I have an extra one over there. But yeah, don't go out on the road and sacrifice everybody else out there. Just kind of keep everybody safe. So take this video with a grain of salt. I love doing these little things because I am mental about everything, and I hope you guys are too. But at the end of the day, let's make sure everybody else on the road is safe. So as always, thank you for watching. You can contact me at Larry@AMMONYC.com. And if you do find this video helpful or any of the videos helpful, if you subscribe to them, that means a whole lot to us YouTubers. So thank you for that. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.